Hey folks, so I wanted to give you a rundown of what's going on out here today. That's old Cranky, this old cast iron blower blew the fins out of itself, got in a bind, and it's just kind of rickety. So old Cranky's going to get taken off. We're going to go in with the motorized fart fan, and I wanted to show you a couple of things we got from the scrapyard. So I know there's a lot of talk on the interwebs about using truck axle and such for different applications in tool making. And I wanted to kind of show you guys what I came up with. So these two guys right here, whatever those are, those came out of a standard pickup truck differential. You just go over there to the scrapyard, you find a differential, you take these bolts out of there and crack her open and slide the whole thing right out of the differential and you're good to go. So that's what these two are, this one and that one. Then over here, we got 3 different variations of some semi-truck axles or something of the sort. This one here, there's a little bit of a different setup. I'm not exactly sure what any of these came out of. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't get that involved. But this one, if you look at it, it's got a nice fat thick post, and then it kind of tapers down over there to where the splines are on the end of it. Now this guy right here was definitely a semi differential, and it's pretty thick. I mean, it's you probably make sledgehammers or something out of that. And then here's this one, which would work well for your standard 3 to 4, maybe even a 5-pound rounding hammer, or different variations of cross pins or diagonal pins or whatever the case may be. Also want to touch base on over here. I got me some different stock for making Christmas presents out of, and some strap that's going to be a border for the forge to help keep the coal in. Over here, what we got in here is, since I'm all about the junkyard, this is a piece of coil spring, and I got several pieces of coil spring I found at the junkyard, and I basically just cut them all in half, cut rings out of it with a torch, and then you take that and you heat it up and you straighten them out, anneal them, and you can get stuff like this. This is a couple different variations of stuff that I've made. This is a slot punch. See if I can get it to focus in for you a little bit there. Slot punch I made, and it's been annealed, it's been heat treated, hardened, and tempered. And then let's see what do we got here. This is a round punch that I made. I'm gonna try a different variation of this. I've talked about actually having a thin taper right at the point of these that's supposed to work out pretty well for folks, but the way I was taught was file it off nice and square, and you got a square face that's supposed to shear the metal and punch a hole. Then we got this right here is the first punch I ever made in my blacksmithing class I took at the Dallas Heritage Village, and it's held up pretty well. It's also a high carbon spring steel. Then we got a square punch, and if you look at that, it's got a nice flat face on it and a nice square taper, and you know, you try to get them relatively straight. And then one of the key factors is you kind of want to round the end a little bit or forge it in an octagon, so that way when you pound on this end of the steel is actually going to be softer than this end, and the strength of it is actually pretty much towards the tip here, and it gets softer as it goes. What ends up happening is as you're pounding on these over time, you'll actually mushroom these off, and the mushrooms can be dangerous. They can fly off and hurt people. This is a hot cut that I made, and you can see the profile of it there. And basically this is just a handheld hot cut. It's a round bar that's flattened out and kind of gives you a nice curvature, so you can actually roll this across the material as you're cutting. It kind of helps you rather than opposed to like a straight line like a chisel. And then this right here is a center punch that I made, and this is actually heat treated a different way than the rest of these tools are, because these are hot tools and this is a cold tool. So this is essentially quenched and hardened and tempered, such as like a cold chisel or something would be. And you can see the tip on there is just kind of ground to a little point, and this actually works quite well. Some of the other things, this is my hardy cutoff tool, which is actually part of a axe that I had laying around that was broken, so I welded it to a plate and it drops right into my hardy hole. Anyway, this is the new fart fan assembly. There's a fart fan. We got some wire going over here. Little control box here. And since we're messing with metal and everything else, I got a GFI plugged in here. This is where the extension cord will plug in, and then I got a variable speed control for my fan. We'll see how this works, and I'll keep you guys posted on whether that's a success or not. And yeah, anyway, so that's gonna go on that. This is one of the first forges I ever built. It never actually was operational, but it's pretty simple. A 55-gallon drum and a hole cut out, and then we got a this is actually a brake drum and a pipe that goes into it and everything else. And I'm thinking about firing this up for a beginner smith giveaway or something, to see if anybody's interested in that. Anyway, that's what we got for now, and I'll keep you guys updated and see what happens. It's a little bit dreary and misty out here today. It looks to me like perfect weather for a nice hot fire. Alright, catch you guys on the flip side. This is Go Forge Yourself signing out. Peace.